Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our council meeting tonight. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'll ask the Honorable Mayor Bobby Herndon to lead us in our prayer, and right from the prayer we'll go right to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Before we pray, as most of you are aware, we lost a good friend a few days ago. If there ever was a character, Wawa was a character, and he'll be missed. Just remember his family, and let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we can assemble ourselves together in this city hall to conduct the business of our great city. Please direct us as we discuss, as our council members vote, as they make decisions to help better our city and to be pleasing to you. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world. We pray especially for our president, our governor, our senators, all the elected officials. Just give them wisdom and guidance all the time. Thank you for our police, our fire, our first responders. Keep them safe and out of harm's way. Thank you for all the employees of our great city. Thank you for what they do for our city. Bless them, their homes, their families. Just give us a great meeting, and thank you so much for loving us. These things we ask. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Collins, call roll, please.
Councilwoman Hayes.
Here.
Councilman Sullivan.
Here.
Councilman Sims.
Here.
Councilman Harper.
Here.
President Logan.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
I know this is off agenda, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a visitor, good friend of Northport, former Councilman Steve Webb. Steve, come on up. Come on up. See you in the audience. We'll let you address council and address citizens. Good to have you.
Thank you, Council President Logan. Basically, I want to say good evening to everyone, and want to basically extend my appreciation for the mayor and council having me here today. I want to let everyone know, those who don't know me, that my name is Steve Webb, and I am running for the Tuscaloosa County Commission seat, District 4. Now, to kind of let you know that I am a former Northport City Councilor. I've spent 8 years on the council, and those were wonderful years, a very good learning experience, and I have earned, basically learned to love the city of Northport. I lived here 15 years, so this is kind of like home for me. So I am no visitor here. I'm basically here coming back home to let you know that I'm here to support you. Now, in my position right now, trying to run for the county commission seat, I want to kind of let everybody know what the district lines consist of. And it consists of downtown Northport, both sides of Lurleen, which is basically Councilman Hayes' district and Councilman Logan's district. And I don't cross 82, but I go all the way down to Pickens County line. Then I have Elrod, Coker, Romulus, Sipsey, Foster's, Ralph, West End, Stillman Boulevard, and some parts of Skyland and downtown Tuscaloosa. As a county commissioner, I will be able to support the city of Northport because I think that Northport is very important. I think in the past, Northport has been left out when it came down to county issue or county support. What I'm asking you today is just to give me that assistance in your own way of helping me win this election. I am loyal to Northport, love Northport, and always will. Northport is my home, and you will have an ally with the county commission. One of the major issues that we have to bridge is that with the district and District 4 has so many, it's quite diverse. When you look at the different parts of our district, there are a lot of social, economic, and racial issues going on. And my goal is to bridge the gap. When I was a city councilman in Northport, that's what I did. You know, I won in a district which was majority white, and basically in that district, I let everybody know that I will represent all people, not just a small group of people, but everybody in the district will be represented, and it matters not about culture and race and all that stuff. My goal was to be able to serve the citizens, to make sure they understand that as a public servant, my major goal is to meet their needs. I'm a big supporter of our fire and police department. I wanted to make sure that the people who take care of people need to be taken care of too. You know, when you look at our city and you look at, you know, I have the city of Tuscaloosa, a couple of their councilmen in my district. I look at the school systems. This is what I've done for life. My main job has been a juvenile probation officer. I've been doing that for 23 and a half years. So being a public servant is nothing new. But I want to make sure that the city of Northport will never be left out again in any situation where the county has funding or support or collaborating. I will collaborate. I will work with our city officials and city leaders here because I want to make sure that, you know, when I was going through Northport and I asked people, do you know who your county commissioner is? And most people said no, they don't know because he's never been in this area or they have never seen him. They don't know. Well, you will know who your county commissioner is in this district. So rest assured, if elected, I am your ally. That will never change. I will be a big support for you and I will take care of home. So I appreciate y'all giving me the time to stand before you. And like I said, I love Northport, and I just ask for your support. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, I'll entertain them at this point.
I do.
Sure.
Is it a fact that county commission funds cannot be spent in the city? For example, if you're on the commission, the county commission money cannot be spent in the city of Northport. Is that correct?
Councilman Hayes, I think that if there is a joint venture where we're going to try to meet the needs of the public, I will find a way to make that happen because, you know, that's a way of standing off. I think a lot of governments say, well, the state can't do this for the county or the county can't do this for the city. But within my county lines, I'm going to do what I have to do to be able to help my citizens, even though they're in the city limits. And that's where I would want to be able to collaborate with you, Councilman Logan, in the city of Tuscaloosa, Harrison, McKinstry, to say, what can we do to better help our neighborhoods? And I don't think we need to have a division line because, oh, no, we can't spend funds because that's the city limits. No. You're in my county district. I will do what it takes to get money there to help. Any other questions?
Best man.
Mr. Mayor, I really appreciate your help and your support always. And like I said, I love the city of Northport, and we will get it done. So thank y'all again for your support, and I appreciate the time you gave me here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. We have no items under unfinished business. We'll go right into new business. Item 8A1 has been deleted, of course. Item 8A2 is a first reading of an ordinance rezoning 1.25 acres on the northeast corner of Highway 43 North and Northwood Estates Drive from RS25 to C3. Mr. Stevens, this is basically a request from property owner where the frontage property is already C3. This is just a request to change it from RS25 to C3. Is that right? Yes, sir. All right. Do I have a motion for a first reading?
Mr. President, I'll offer that for a first reading.
Thank you. That's an offer by Councilman Sullivan for a first reading on that one. Item 3 is a first reading of an ordinance amending Article 3 regarding lost and stolen property. This is out of our legal department. Mr. Davis, this is just a policy or a process that we've created at the request of our police department for disposing property that the city does not technically own but has in its possession. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. President. It's also allowed by the Alabama Code, and it mirrors, this amendment mirrors the Alabama Code.
Thank you. Do I have somebody offer that for a first reading?
I'll offer that as well, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's a first reading motion by Councilman Sullivan. Fourth item is a first reading of an ordinance authorizing the sale of real property. Mr. Collins.
Mr. President, members of Council, Mayor Herndon, as you are aware, for the last several years, the city has had the property for sale. Property located at 700 Bridge Avenue, also known as the Boys Club property. The city also owns a corner lot at the intersection of 9th and Bridge Avenue. The street address is 808 Bridge Avenue. We have a request and agreement before you tonight for a purchaser, Allied Development, to purchase the property at nearly its most recently appraised value of $1,200,000. The agreement before you tonight authorizes or would authorize the sale of that property for the $1,200,000. Those properties would be 700 Bridge Avenue and 808 Bridge Avenue. 700 Bridge Avenue was declared surplus in 2010. The ordinance that you have before you would also declare surplus 808 Bridge Avenue. There's some provisions in the agreement that provide for a 9-month due diligence process from the purchaser, meaning they would have 9 months to complete the purchase after they did some review of the property, some environmental studies and other things to make sure that they can move forward satisfactorily with the property. The provisions in the agreement also provide that if the property is not developed appropriately and pursuant to city code zoning and other regulations within 60 months, that the city would have the opportunity to purchase the property back from Allied Development at the purchase price of $1.2 million. That's the request that we have before you tonight. This would require a first reading of City Council, if it's pleasure of a member of the council, and then it will require a vote of the City Council at the next council meeting to ratify the sale agreement.
Thank you. I'll offer that for a first reading on item 4.
Thank you, sir.
Item 8B1 is a resolution authorizing a change order number 1 for Mid-Layer Road improvement projects. Mr. Swan, just briefly in synopsis of this change order request, at the recommendation of our consulting engineering firm, 2 issues that are pretty much out of the city's control. One is the approval process was denied from the State Revenue's office. As a result, the exemption that was requested has been denied for the sales and use tax status. That's a big hit financially. And again, this is something that's out of the city's control, ladies and gentlemen. And the replacement of traffic loops, or the system of traffic loops in the area of Highway 69 and Mid-Layer Road during the actual construction. During the construction process, inadvertently, some of the traffic loop systems were damaged just because of soil conditions and the topography of the land. So again, this change order request is for $161,800. Do I have this dollar amount right?
That's not right.
It is not correct. Tell me, what is the change order request? What's the total amount? Do we even have it?
116,
116,
800.
800. See the difference in your 6 and a 1. 116,800.
Make sure that's right, Jay.
Yeah, let's make sure we got that amount correct, Mr. Swan.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Okay. $116,800.00. Again, this is State Revenue's office denying the exemption request for sales and use tax status, and again, the replacement of traffic loop systems that are out of our control just because soil conditions in that area and the nature of construction during the traffic loop systems and the topography of the land. So again, I'll make that motion to approve the change order number 1 for Mid-Layer Road Improvement Project. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Sims. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Collins.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sims,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Harper.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item C is consent agenda. We have 14 items. It's been asked to actually set aside item 4 to vote on separately. So that will be the request of council for items 8C 1 through 3 and items 8C 5 through 14. So with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the items 8C 1 through 3 and items 8C 5 through item 14. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sims. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Collins.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sims,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Harper,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
As also requested, item 8C4 is a PO requisition for the wastewater treatment plant lab testing 6 units for TTL at the amount of $8,000 out of Utilities Department. Again, this is a budgeted amount in our 2016 budget. Again, this was a request to vote on separately. I'll make a motion to approve that PO requisition for the wastewater treatment plant lab testing 6 units for TTL in the amount of $8,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sullivan. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Collins.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilman Harper,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Sims. Motion carries, Mr. President.
Item 9 is reports of special committees to council. We have none to report. Item 10 is public hearings. We have none on the agenda. Item 11, city administrator's business. Mr. Collins.
Mr. President, nothing for you tonight.
Thank you. Item 12, departmental business. We have none to report. Item 13, public comment. We have 2 citizens signed up to speak. Mr. Jody Jobson. Thank you for coming, Mr. Jobson. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Jody Jobson. I live at 1534 Bellwood Lane, Northport, and I'm here to give y'all a break from the park this week. I got a ditch problem that I brought to your attention about a year ago, and I can't seem to get any help, and so I'm back again asking. I have a ditch, concrete flume that runs from up here, goes all the way to the river, dumps out down in right by the Baptist church. Y'all had to replace under Cheryl Ross' house on Main Avenue a section of pipe that caved her yard in. The ditch has not been maintained. The city used to maintain it and cut, you know, as needed. They would cut the weeds and the little trees and all that. Well, nobody's been there in 10 years. It's been neglected. And now it's a haven for mosquitoes. It's a haven for snakes. You go across the street from the ditch, and the landowner over there, which I brought to your attention, there's fox in there, there's animals in there that don't need to be in there, but they have nowhere else to go. But you were going to get in touch with the owner to get something done, and that hadn't been. So I'm just here to find out what I need to do. The city sent a whole crew right down here at Brookhaven, whatever it is, right down here below City Hall. You cut a pine tree, you cut all the trash out, put the fence back up, and maintained it. Now, that ditch is the same ditch that runs behind my house. It just doesn't have a fence. And I'd like to know if that's considered working on private property, or are y'all going to maintain? I don't want you to maintain it every week because it doesn't need it. But now I can't do it. I've cut trees until I can't. I couldn't get y'all to do it, so I did it. So I don't know, Mr. Collins, I'm not picking on you, but at that meeting that I brought it up, you said you'd get with me later, and I called you later about 6 months, and you hadn't got it. You said you were working on it, and the mayor said he would do it, and it hadn't been done. So I don't know what to do. It's not really. You can ask Mr. Swan over there. He's seen it. The concrete's coming out in sections. It's washing behind it. So y'all fixing to lose, or somebody, but I know it's not my ditch. So what do I need to do to help to get this thing going, or just what are your plans? Or
What size easement or do we have through there, and does the city maintain other easements of the same size? Any information anybody can give me on that?
We maintain right-of-ways, not easements. You know, if we have a storm pipe running through a easement, that's our storm pipe, and that gives us access to work on the pipe. As far as cutting back brush, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And you said up until 10 years ago, I mean,
city cut it. I mean,
City.
all you had to do was call, and they cut it, because I don't think the homeowners down there would have signed for a ditch. I mean, it was already a ditch. It was just an unsightly ditch. And when they did the flood to keep the water, you got water running from McFarland right here that comes all the way through down and comes under that, through that V drain. And it's rained so hard at times that the water's been up to the top of it. And then it goes down and goes under 13th Street and bears back and comes and dumps out right there on the left-hand side of Northport Baptist Church. Right there where you turn to go back to the cotton gin, old cotton gin. The city maintained it. I got 3 people that I can call to come up here and say that they were told to do it as needed, that worked for the city, were supervisors and everything else. I just didn't think I had to do that, but you know, you've also got a sewage line that's about, what, Charles, 15 feet from the the drain, the ditch, you got a sewage line down there that nobody's ever even checked on and it's functional.
That's
So
the- that's
one
the-
of those two ought to cover y'all having to maintain something, unless you just don't wanna to take the trees down, and then, you know, I guess I'll go back doing it myself.
But will you do this? Will you just get the information you have on that and get that to either me or Ron or both, and we'll follow up and get the information back to council and Mr. Jobson?
Thank you, sir. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Second citizen, Mr. Dennis Hambright. Dennis, good to see you.
Dennis Hambright, 5109 Azalea Trail. Before I get into what I was gonna say, I just asked Jody, was it the same ditch that starts over here on 82, goes down through the subdivision? Back many, many years ago, I called Charles Swan a long time. He probably don't even remember this. I said, man, this ditch is flooding. It's got snakes in it. There's trees growing up in it. They not only came in there and cleared it out, they put the cement, put fence up around people who didn't have fence. So it's the same ditch, but like I say, that's been 40 years ago. So I don't know if that has anything to do with what he's talking about, but I don't know what's changed since then. Anyway, what I signed up for was, the mayor touched on it a while ago, Kenneth Walters. A lot of people did not know Kenneth Walters the way I do. I worked with him for 30 years out of Goodrich. He had a 9th grade education. He quit work just so he could feed his family. I don't remember if his dad died or what happened, but he supported that family. Wawa helped working people for many, many years. Black, white, it did not matter to him. I know he's butted heads with a few of y'all, but on the same token, he respected you. And I think you respected him. I know Judy called me several times that, can I do something for Wawa on different things? And I commend her for that, because he sure butted head with her sometimes. But at the same time, I think he respects her just for speaking her piece. But the people out here just need to know the real Wawa, because he'd get up here sometimes and go on and on. You call a time limit on him, he'd keep talking. But, you know, that was just Wawa. That's the way he did. At his funeral, you had dignitaries from all over the state. John Merrill was a pallbearer, but I can't even name all of them that were there. So they knew him statewide, because he would call. He didn't care if it was the governor. He'd call him. He wouldn't sit in the governor's office many times, just him and the governor. So I'd like y'all to remember him as that kind of Wawa that tried to help people. And we have lost a good citizen. He hadn't been in Northport maybe 3 years, but he landed with a bang, because he started coming to city council meetings right off. But I know I'll miss him as a personal friend. I think y'all will too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'd like to respond to, my condolences about Wawa. I did have a lot of respect for him and still do. But I'd like to respond to your comments about those ditches that run through. I thought it was Rosewood. There's no sign, but it's up behind the nursing homes, that area in there. The concrete ditches actually even cut through people's front yard, a person's front yard, that were built a long time ago, 30 years ago, and they were concreted and then fenced. The fences are falling down, and they're very dangerous. One child has already slipped down into one of the concrete ditches, and they're deep, and kids cannot crawl out. And I was called by someone who lived there because they smelled gasoline, what they thought was gasoline. And Charles Swan and I tracked it down. He helped me track it down to a gas station, a former gas station across the street was left, and the tank's left in the ground, and it has seeped into the dirt so that there's no way to get it out. And it goes under 82, and it comes out at a spring back there behind, closer to Main than 20th. And they're putting, the oil company's putting this absorbent material there to catch it, but some of it's still seeping down, and you can smell it in those ditches. But yes, the ditches do need repairing, and the new fences put up, I think that it's at this point a liability to the city to not replace those fences. They're the kind of fence, they're chain link fences, but they're not secured to the ground. so you can swing them in and out. And that makes them extremely dangerous. I'd hate to see a child fall into that and they wouldn't be able to get out. So there's several things that we need to look at, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Jody and Dennis. Can we get somebody, Scott or Mayor, can we get somebody to get out there and look at that and look into replacing those fences?
Well, Brooke, Scott asked Brooke to check into that. She's gonna be.
You can check into that too, Brooke. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's the, actually, we'll just segue right into it. Mayor and council members of business. The Honorable Councilwoman Judy Hayes. Actually, you're up.
Well, I just want the people in District 1 to know that this evening at the pre-council meeting, I ask that the council again address the need for a street sweeper machine or a street vacuum machine, one or the other, whichever one would be most effective and most efficient to meet the needs of the citizens. I get calls quite frequently about, especially back a month or two ago in Steele, leaves falling in the ground, people raking them into the gutters, and I know they're not supposed to do that, but maybe they don't know they're not supposed to do that. It's still happening, and pine straw, and I've had quite a few residents of District 1, and I imagine other districts as well, asking for the vacuum truck over and over and over again. So I did ask the council to address that, and Mr. Collins said he will get information about the trucks and let us look at that and how much it costs, whether to lease them or purchase them, and we will go from there, and hopefully we will have something in place during the 2016 fiscal year.
Thank you. District 2 under my business, only to just kind of echo what Dennis brought up to us about Kenneth. He was a good friend, even though he did come up with some great one-liners and some zingers, but that's what you want. He was a very engaged citizen, not only in Northport, but all over the county and the state. He will be surely missed, and he did this stuff really out of respect for the process, and he enjoyed city government, so he will be missed here in Northport. Also, to Coral Industry, the progress for their plant expansion, I guess you could call it, or construction, is going pretty good. There, I guess, is 64th Avenue, the western part of District 2. Council, maybe a couple council meetings ago, finalized some zoning, some other things for Coral Industries to make that process a reality. So that's going to be very exciting to bring some more jobs to Northport. And that's all the report I have under my district. District 3, Councilman Sullivan.
I too want to send my condolences to Dennis. I know you and Wawa were good friends. I only knew him through dealing with the city, so he'll certainly be missed. I always enjoyed talking to him, good or bad. He was always fun. One other update, just on the old Kmart site. I'm sure all of you know the demolition is complete. It looks like the construction, they're having a construction meeting this week. The anticipated completion date for the construction is July 2016. Like I said, these are just rough estimates of what they think the new neighborhood market will be complete. After that, of course, there takes time for hiring and set up internally. So looks like this fall it should be open to the public, and I will keep everybody updated as I get new information on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. District 4, Councilman Sims. District 5, Councilman Harper.
I have none, but I'd like to congratulate Mr. Webb and hope glad to see you running. Good luck. Good to see you.
The Honorable Mayor Bobby Herndon.
Thank you, Mr. President. As always, I want to thank all our departments, all the employees of the city for the great job they do. Also, we got in our handouts from Mr. Stevens as far as an update on the Jack's hamburgers. This week or next week they should be breaking ground on that. I know a lot of folks have been eagerly awaiting that, and but that should be coming very soon. I appreciate everything that the council does. And I thank you all for being here, and for Steve Webb, just thank you for being here. Good friend. I think he'll be a great commissioner for District 4 because, as he said, he does have Northport's best interest at heart, and that would be refreshing.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 15 is adjournment, ladies and gentlemen. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sullivan. All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you at 6:31 this afternoon or this evening.